Hi guys, welcome to Marnie's TV Zealots. Tonight we're here with the recap of The Good Doctor episode 2, season 2, Middle Ground. My name is Denise and my partner in crime is Mary. Mary, say hi.
Hi, so glad you guys are here with us. Tonight, Denise and I had to sadly split up. She was watching Manifest, check that video out, and I watched The Good Doctor. Let us know if you want us to keep going with either one of these shows or both. We can keep doing this. You know, it's fun for us. But let's get into the episode. Like Denise said, it's called Middle Ground. And there wasn't as much backstory. I think a lot of the Good Doctor that I liked in season 1 was getting to know the doctors a little bit more. Like, I want to go home with Claire and I want to go home with Dr. Park, but that's neither here or there. This episode was almost all in the hospital. The first patient, Sean and Melendez were talking, and he's like, I think our janitor has pancreatic cancer. Like, he might have just a year to live. How do we tell him that? And Melendez was like, not like this. Let's just think of a reason to do tests. You know what? Take Claire with you.
Right, she has good bedside manner.
And sadly, he's right. Oh, and he's like, I need to bring my family in. Like this, like his family, like the scenes with him and his family were so precious and so sad and maybe even slightly triggering. Like, I don't know. But you know, there is a procedure they could do where he could either die on the table or he can live a few years more. When you have pancreatic cancer, this is the end. Most people don't live a full year if they're diagnosed with it. So, you know, his family's like, oh my gosh, you're either going to die, you know, by Christmas, or you could die on the table, or you could live a few more years, get the surgery. And it really seems like his family is pushing him to make that decision. I think he just wants to live in peace and just die with his family around him. But he decides to get the surgery and he dies on the table. My gosh.
Oh my God.
I was just like, ooh. I was a mess over this man. He was the sweetest little thing. Oh, anyway. So during all this time, Leah wakes up in Sean's apartment. She's going to stay there until she can get her apartment back.
Excuse me, what?
Yes. She has a little pallet by his bed.
So not only did she sexually assault him in season 1, she has moved herself into his apartment.
Yes.
I just had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, it's true. So Sean is leaving early and coming home late. And whenever he comes in, they're like, you don't start your shift yet. He's like, I don't want to be in my apartment. And, you know, Leah comes over to the hospital where Claire and Sean were talking. By the way, Claire and Sean's scenes in this episode were beautiful. Their chemistry was amazing. And I think it's really funny how when Leah and Sean are together on the screen, it looks ugly. So anyway, Claire's like, oh, I'll leave you two alone. You know, it's fine. He's like, no. I'll leave you two alone because I don't want to talk to her. And he runs off. And Claire's like, oh, okay, bye. It was glorious.
Girl, I'm gonna have to watch it.
And then, but see, here comes the problem. Sean has a complete emotional flip out.
Oh.
And, you know, Claire's like, you know, this whole thing has been about honesty. And he's like, I don't know how to tell her the truth because I don't know how I feel. And, you know, it's like his heart is broken in too many pieces. And I was like, girl.
Seriously, though?
Yeah. So he goes home and Leah's waiting for him and he gives her the baseball and he's like, please take this back. And she was like, no, I gave it to you so you can remember me. He's like, yeah, that's the problem. I'd come home and look at that baseball and think of you and you're not here. And think about how you just walked off, you know? And, she's like, but I'm back. He's like, you know what? No, don't nobody care about that. Because you know what you're going to do? You're going to leave again. And I will be stuck here with this baseball. Take it and take your stuff and you can go. Like,
Jesus.
So he basically is like, when I get back, I don't want you to be here. Pretty much.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So that ends their arc of the episode. And I was like, yes, but she's going to be back. Like,
yeah, I mean, well, we know.
Yeah.
We know. So, I mean, I'm telling you right now, had that been the roles been reversed.
Yeah.
And Sean had told her she couldn't leave until she kissed him, there would be a riot.
Yeah.
But because it's a woman doing it, it's cute.
It was just.
It's not. But go on. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So let's move on to patient 2. Or should I do Glassman first? Let's do Glassman. Okay. So Dr. Glassman is seriously avoiding talking to Dr. Blaze about what surgeon he wants for his surgery, for his procedure. And Blaze is like, you're going to have to look for another oncologist because you can't trust any doctor. She's like, just write a name down. It doesn't even have to be a doctor. I just need a box to check. You're driving me crazy. And so he, he's kind of thinking on it. He's really like acting out, and Sean is like, what's wrong with you? He's like, I'm terrified of the middle ground, and he's like, what's worse than dying? And he's just like, I'm terrified of not dying. It's like, what if I can't speak after they mess with my brain? What if I can't use one side of my body? Or what if I lose my sight? What if my hand shakes uncontrollably? He's like, I won't be able to do what I've always done, and that's be a good doctor. And I thought that was really beautiful. That hit really hard. He finally picked a doctor, and they started the surgery as soon as the credits rolled. And I was like, ooh, next episode is going to be really good. And so let's finish off with patient number 2. Young girl, Asha, comes in and she's like, I would like to have cosmetic surgery. The girl is young. And so she's like, at your age, she's like, yeah, I want the vaginal cosmetic surgery. And can you just look at me and tell me if I'm eligible? And Dr. Lim is like, sure, let's just go through it. So she takes one look at her and she was just like, who did this to you? Like, dead serious. And she was like, it happened when I was a child, like everybody in my family does it. She's like, I just want to be a normal girl again. And she's like, yes, I agree. This is ancient practice. You should have a labia and a clitoris, How many times they said that C word? It was so awkward in this episode. And so Dr. Park is like, listen, because he's the cop. He's like, I ran her through, like facial recognition or whatever. The ID that she has is fake. She's not 19 years old. She's a minor. She's like, we have to call her parents. And Dr. Lim is like, I'm just going off of the ID that she gave me. As far as I know, her name is whatever. And she's however years old. And the test results will go to this fake address and we'll never see her again. It'll be fine. So they do the surgery. comes out, she's got serious complications. She's in like the worst pain down there. And so they just have to like sedate her, like put her to sleep. And they're like, what are we going to do? And they're, Dr. Park is like, you have to tell Andrews. Like, there's nothing we could do. And Resnick, I was surprised she only really had like the one line in the whole episode, but she was like, this pain might actually be a good thing. They thought that they tore out her whole clitoris, but there's probably still some left. Those are probably nerve endings that were under the scar tissue that she didn't know she had. She could have a full working uterus again, And so Lim goes to tell Dr. Andrews, he is high key, like off the charts. He's like, you're going to lose your job over this. You know this, right? So Lim has to call.
Always.
I love it. I love how like absolute he is. He's like, everyone's going to die and it's your fault. Like that's what he does. And I love him. And so Lim calls the parents and they're arguing with her and they're like, this is our cultural tradition. Like she wanted to turn her back on our tradition, like she's failed us as a daughter. And next thing you know, Child Protective Services walks up with Andrews. He's like, got your back, Lim. You're crazy, but I got your back. So Child Protective Services is like, wake the girl up. Let's see what she wants to do, And so she could either finish the cosmetic surgery to give herself the pleasure center again, or more simply, they could just cut it out like what her family was trying to do in the first place. And so she wakes up and her parents are there and everybody's in there. And she's like, I made a mistake. Just cut it back out, cut everything out. And and the dad's like, yeah, good, and everybody else in the room was upset, except for the dad because he's a jerk. And so.
Right. What kind of evil mess?
Right. And
I know they practice it, but I'm just like, it's evil. And anyway, go ahead.
No, but I mean, honestly, if you are charged with mutilating your child, would Child Protective Services have them in the room? I'm just saying.
No, they wouldn't. Because even when they question them, it's separate. They separate the child.
That's what
they already know. You're not gonna tell the truth with the people who did the stuff to you right here.
Right. So I think they just did that for dramatic effect. She was like, I failed my family, I don't want to do it. And so they're, cleaning up for the surgery. And Dr. Lim is like, all right, we're doing the reconstruction. And they're like, wait, did she say that she wanted this? And she was like, yeah, she did. Yeah, she says she wants it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay. So they do it, and they take a piece out of her cheek to make the muscle come back, and it'll adhere and grow back. And so they wake her up, and and she's like, oh my gosh, the pain is gone. I feel so much better. And she's like, ow, pow, pow. Way to go. It was so awkward. But hey, girl power. Like, honestly, I'm really glad that they were able to tackle an issue like that on the show. So I thought it was pretty good. It was a pretty good episode overall, but it wasn't enough good doctor for me. Like, I'm still not getting those season 1 feels. So we'll roll with it. So
yeah, hopefully we'll get get more clear.
I know.
At home.
Great in this episode.
We'll see what happens outside of work.
Right. That's it for me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. Bye.